Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday night to New Start Monday Knits. Sorry, I think I was still playing my with the tripod when it went live. I was waiting for a countdown and I guess I missed it, and we are live. So welcome, everybody. It's Monday. It's a brand new week, which means it is a brand new cast on here at Wildflower Wool. So it was another nail biting poll over in Instagram and Facebook today to see what this week's cast on yarn is going to be. So we will get to the vote here in just a couple minutes, and I have some finishes to show you. You guys are going to be super surprised. And I have a little sock knitting to show you, just a little. Don't get too excited about sock knitting, but I've got lots of fun stuff to talk about. And then we will all chat, and I would love to know what you guys are working on. So I forgot to bring my laptop up here, so I am going to be squinting, trying to read comments. So you have to bear with me. So anyways, the vote for this week. The project is going to be a stranded colorwork cowl. So stranded or fair isle, depending on which term you like to use. I tried to go out of my comfort zone and pick some color combinations that I wouldn't normally use. So let's see. Option number one was these three colors. It's a three color cowl. Oh my gosh, that is almost a tongue twister. Hi, everybody who's coming in live. It's so great to see everybody live. So what do you think? I thought I wanted to try to, go do something normally. Normally, I would never put those together. This is looking a little rusty, I think, on the camera, but it's a more of a dark burgundy. It's claret, I think, is what the colorway is. Yeah. The French word is Bordeaux. That Bordeaux kind of suits it more, I think. It is a really deep red. So with the pink and the green, I kind of thought that looked springy. It looked bright. A couple people in the comments said this option number one would be a great cheerful combination for next winter when it's dark and cold. Just put something on that's going to be bright and happy. I went on a little shopping spree that I haven't mentioned before. Hi, Jane. And I stocked up on some Impeccable a few weeks ago. I popped down to Michael's. Oh, Bordeaux was red wine. Well, this is kind of what it looks like, Amber. Kind of a dark reddy color. So Michael's, you guys know I can't help gravitate down to Michael's when they have a good sale on, and they had all their yarn on sale 30% off a couple of weeks ago. Did anybody else go and buy some yarn? Oh, Jocelyn, I'm just going to talk about you because you are the reason I came out of there with 2 big bags full. Because Jocelyn always talks about Impeccable as being a really good acrylic yarn. It washes well, it knits well, and I know Jocelyn has made lots of sweaters out of it. And I did a hat with it back in January, and I liked it. I remember at the time when I knit the green, it was kind of a textured ribby kind of hat, and I said, oh, I didn't know if it was my favorite or not because it felt a little stiff. I think it was just because I wasn't used to it, right? Going from a wool to an acrylic. And everybody said, wash it, wash it, wash it. Well, I haven't washed it. I just wore it. So it does need to be washed now, but I haven't. But everybody said that wash it and it will soften up and it'll be really lovely. So anyways, I went and I bought a few of these. So I kind of stocked my shelves. Most of all of this. Some of it I already had from Fall Colors. But a lot of this, most of it, I think, is all, this is some bulky, but this is pretty much all Impeccable. I just kind of went and I grabbed one ball of a lot of different colors. Just exactly for this purpose, to be able to just come up here and look at my wall and be like, yes, I think I will just put these together. Oh, Lynn bought yarn for a market bag. That's exciting. That's a Fiber Friends Challenge project. So anyways, I totally got sidetracked here. So this is option number 1. So it's a worsted weight. It's impeccable. It's 100% acrylic. And it does seem like a really nice acrylic yarn if you're needing something for somebody who has a wool allergy, or for kids and you just want to wash it, or really anybody, I guess, if you're teenagers, maybe a good bet for that one too. Kids that are just out on their own for the first time are probably not going to hand wash. I know I can hear some of our friends that are in Norway and they're going to be saying, oh, we put wool on babies, and I know you do, and I think that's fantastic, but that is just not the norm here, and people don't have their heads wrapped around doing that. So for the time being, until I can convert the whole world to wanting to wear wool, I have resigned to the fact that I am going to have to do some knitting with acrylic to keep my family members happy until I can convert them without them knowing. Which I found out, right, that about a 20% wool content. My sister-in-law didn't, yeah, a lot of my family was happy with that 80-20 blend. So there's my little spark of hope. But anyways, back to the acrylic. So this is Citron. It's a really pretty kind of limey green kind of color. That was the Claret, and this is Lippy, a nice hot pink. So that was option number 1, which I think would look really, really fun. Second option, I kind of went with more of my traditional colors. I have knit more things than I can count with these 2 colors, a navy and again like a lemongrass. So I think this one is actually called grass. It is. It's grass. So it still is like a yellowy green color, but it's very pretty. And this one here is marine. Oh, navy. Blue marine apparently is the French. So there's a navy and grass. I just always like this color combination together. And this one here is smoke. It is really nice. I'm sure it's smoke. I guess I should double check. Yes. Getting too confident thinking I just know what the color names are by looking at them. But I really like that. This smoke, oh, I love this. There's something about this. It's a bluey gray. It looks like, you know, like when you hold it up to a gray, the blue comes out of it. Oh, so Nikki is saying she put wool on her kids, and yeah, and there's a place for acrylic. Yes, especially gifts. And frankly, if it's not affordable for everybody to use wool, yeah, you can't handle scratchy, yes. Well, you know, that's right. There's a place for everything, right? And so that's why I always want to be open on this channel to knitting with everything, you know, hand-dyed things, Lopi, my rustic wool, and, you know, some affordable acrylic, because this is exactly what some people prefer to knit with this. This fits into some people's budgets. Some weeks this fits into my budget. So it's good to have a little bit of everything. So this was option 2. Smoke, navy, and grass. It was a really, really close vote again. I thought at one time option number 1. So what if I hold? I can't hold 6 balls of yarn all at one shot. So what if I just do this? Option number 1. Oh, nope, I haven't said what one yet. I'm extending the anticipation. So this is option number 1. This is option number 2. So at one time, option number 1, I think right out of the start, option number 1 was way far ahead. Then everybody seemed to be voting for option number 2. And then Facebook ended up deciding the winner on Instagram stories. It was pretty close. It's always funny how one colorway or one option always seems to be predominant on Instagram, and the opposite is on Facebook. And tonight, Facebook voters were ones who broke the tie. So insert pretend drum roll, and the winner by just a few votes is option 1. So this, I think I'm pretty happy that this is the winner, because I'm really wanting to see what these colors look like together. I hope they look really well. If you guys all know, when you do color work, sometimes you don't know until you actually start knitting and swatching and see how the colors truly do look together. Sometimes just seeing them in the ball doesn't really translate to how it knits up on the needles, but I'm really, really liking this. Oh no, Melanie. I'm guessing Melanie, she picked option 2. Well, you know what? There was a lot of option 2s, and to be honest, I will maybe, hopefully, there's a good chance that I will do both colorways, but this is the one that I will start tonight. Oh, so I'm super, super excited to cast this on. This option number 2 will be really pretty too, kind of subtle with that grass, that pop of color. I think will be gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So thank you guys for voting. This was a really fun one. It was a nail biter. I was in a meeting this afternoon, and every once in a while, it was all afternoon, and I grabbed my phone and just kind of discreetly looked to see which yarn combo was ahead, because I was eager to see which one I was going to be casting on tonight. So option number 1, it's going to be so fun and so colorful. Cannot wait. I've got needles here all ready to go. I'm going to knit it on 16-inch needles because I like having the right length of needle as opposed to doing magic loop. I would do magic loop if I had to, if I couldn't find a needle size. But as you will see in a minute, I had these already pulled out. And I know I have got a 4.5 millimeter that I'm going to do the ribbing. And then the body of the cowl, when it switches to color work, is going to be a 5.5 millimeter. So I will show you a little, well, I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a minute. I have some finishes. I actually went through all of my finishes from the beginning of the year. Well, sorry. So I got finishes and start mixed up. That is, those do not get, those not the same thing. I went through all of my New Start Monday projects and wrote them all down. My poor whiteboard. If you guys have been watching every Monday, you would have seen I was so super organized the first maybe 3 weeks of the year. I went and bought a new whiteboard. I bought post-it notes. I bought erasable markers and all kinds of fun colors. I was going to have this whiteboard and I was going to show it to you every week. I was going to keep track of when I started, when I finished, what the number was, you know, like 6 out of 12 starts were finished, and then that very quickly fell to the wayside. And it just seems I have just been too busy to actually sit down and organize it. But I am almost there. I put everything. Amber says she knew the whiteboard wouldn't last long, but that's okay. I'm going to revive it. I am not giving up on it because this is my new year, my new start. I'm being organized. I really do want to be a little more organized and be able to see, have a snapshot of everything all in one spot. So the whiteboard is going to get dusted off and I'm going to update it all. I have it all, I wrote it all down on a sheet, and then I added in some extra projects because our guild once a month has had a special project, I guess, a theme. So I've had projects for that. The Fiber Friends have had, or what January was that month. Oh, I'm not going to be able to remember them all now, am I? January, February, March, April. April was socks. March. Okay, what was March? Okay, wait. Okay, this is going to test my memory. January was hats. February was sweaters. March was around your neck, and April was socks. Oh my gosh, only 4 things. And I planned them, so there's really no reason why I should not remember those. So 4 things. So there was cast on projects for that. There was cast on things for guild. So I think I've got them all listed. I've got them all listed out per date. Around the neck. See, I know, you guys. I can always count on you guys. Thanks, Sally. And anyway, so I have it all listed out. There's way more starts than there is finishes, but there is a few finishes. So now I really want to go back and try to work on those earlier, like back in January, and try to get some of those finished so I can kind of keep it more even. So I have finishes. I have finishes. Okay, let me start. I bought this cute little bag. I've been on a buying spree. This I need to be reined in here, you guys. But I did when I was out. I saw this cute little bag and it just made me smile. And I thought, you know what? I think right now we need some pretty things that just make us happy. So I bought it, and I have deemed this to be my dishcloth knitting bag. I think this is maybe only my first dishcloth of the year, but maybe I will cast on some more with hopes that I can do some dishcloths to have on hand for Christmas gifts and hostess gifts and that kind of thing. So this was a new start back at the beginning of March, because it was right when Sock Madness started that I was going to cast this on. Do I have theirs? Okay, I have my needle in here apparently. Okay, anyways, Bernat Handicrafter, because this is the cotton that we have most readily available here. I know a lot of people like Knit Picks Dishy or there's another one, and I just totally lost the name of it, but that's okay. So dishcloth cotton, Bernat Handicrafter. It's the one that I use the most. I like it. And this one here was called Mod Blue. Really nice bright blue. I did that really fun stitch. I think I showed it to the stitch pattern to you last week. And here it is all finished. And I love this. I think I asked you guys about, you know, what would you want to do? Would you want to do a pattern that was not tricky? It's slow. It's slow. It's not hard at all, but it is slow. It's not a fast, quick knit, and you do kind of have to watch your stitches. And sugar and cream, Kim, you got it. Thank you. I knew it started with an S, and I'm like, I just could not grab that out of my memory. This is a really pretty stitch, and I really want to use this in, well, everything, pretty much, right? I think it would be gorgeous in a cowl. It would be gorgeous in a sweater. I think I would pull my hair out if I knit it all in a sweater. I don't think I would want to do a sweater. By the time I was finished the dishcloth, I was happy. It was called Edelweiss stitch, and I don't know, I didn't Google it. I don't know if that's the common name. I mean, you know, guys all know there's so many different names. Everybody gives a stitch a different name, right? Or they come across something that doesn't have a name and they name it something, and then you go looking in a stitch book and you see it listed as something else. So what it is, I think it was a multiple. I cast on 35 stitches, so it must be a multiple of 2 plus 1. That's what I'm thinking. And you go across, it's a 4-row repeat, and you knit across, then you do purl 2 together, but don't take the stitch off the left needle, and then you knit 2 together, and you do that all the way across, and then you just knit the next row, and then you repeat the pattern, but you offset it by 1. So it's every other row is just a plain knit. Every other row is that stitch pattern. So it is just, it's a little slow. It's not hard, but it's slow, you know. So I think maybe just having this as a section of a shawl or a border or something like that, or who knows, maybe I think it would be gorgeous as a shawl. I'm wondering what it would what I really want to try it in is something other than cotton, because you guys all know cotton doesn't have a whole lot of stretch. So when I was knitting it, it was just always, because you're always working 2 stitches together, and it was like, oh, there's no stretch to the cotton, right? So I'm wondering if you did it with a nice wool or very lovely acrylic, that you would have a little more stretch and play to manipulate those stitches. So I would be interested in doing that again. With the cotton, would I want to do a whole shawl or something with the cotton? I don't know. I mean, I could, but I'm wondering if wool might be a little easier. So I may play with that, because I did really like this stitch. So anyways, this is a finish. This was a New Start Monday, and it's done. Yes, it does lie nice and flat, Lynn, but I put no extra stitches on here. Sometimes I will put a 1 or 2 knit stitches on the edges just to give it a little nicer edge. I didn't do that this time. So, I mean, it's not super, like you can see there's little, because sometimes there was a knit one, sometimes you went right directly into the working 2 stitches together. But you know what? It looks like a really fancy spa cloth. So I didn't worry about it. I think it looks just fine. If it was going to be a scarf or a shawl, maybe I would probably put an edge stitch on there. But for a face cloth, I didn't bother. Let's see, what else? So there was one finish. The other finish, if you guys joined Jocelyn and I Thursday night last week, you will have seen that I finished my Turkish bed socks. I always pick these up and think, oh my goodness, they look so teeny tiny. But they fit my feet perfectly because they stretch. I think they're about an inch shorter than my foot. I don't have super big feet to start with, but they are, they were a fun little knit. Oh, I had a little bit of this Patton's Croy left over. And so it was something, it would be great to do if you've had an extra ball, 1 ball of sock yarn left over from another project, or yeah, I mean, or if you happen to buy 1 ball, I don't know. This would be a cute little pattern. It is a paid for pattern, the Turkish bed socks, which Suzanne was so kind as to gift me. And I think I would definitely make some more of these. I think they'd be great little stocking stuffers, or just to make a few to have, you know, just inside the front of your front door. So when people come over, I think people are starting to come and start visiting right now. It seems kind of odd to say when you have company come over. And, you know, if you've got hardwood floors or something and it's cool, you can just give people slippers, or take a pair with you, put them in your project bag, your purse when you go visiting. They would take up, you know, no room at all to pop those in. Fun construction, quick, easy to knit, use less than 50 grams of yarn. Win-win. A good gift. I know there's, yeah, nothing, I don't think I can say anything bad about it. If you're, the only thing might be if you are a very beginner knitter, if it's when the way the pattern's knit is, if you think too hard about it, you may get yourself even more confused, because it's knit in sections and it's an interesting construction. I know I've chatted before. Yes, church mouse. Yes, thanks, Lynn. Church mouse yarns is the pattern. So you start out doing this band. See this rectangle band here? Just this top like inch or so, and it goes around to the other side. You start it and you do this long rectangle, and then you work the heel flap, the heel turn, and the heel turn has no short rows in it. It's really fun and very easy. But the pattern is very well written. They have a picture of the sock, and they have everything numbered. So when you cast on and do this little rolled brim, then you do piece, then you do this piece, then you do this piece, and it's all numbered, so you know exactly where you are. It was great. It was fun. It was fun. So now I can't wait to see. Jocelyn was knitting a different slipper, so we'll have to compare notes, one of our Thursday night check-ins. So this was a new start Monday in February, because this was supposed to be a little bit of a small project in between our sweater knitting. So this was a February finish. The dishcloth was a March finish. So exciting to get those. I'll be able to go check them off. So done and done. Now my next finish, it was, you guys haven't seen this one at all, and it was a cast on and a finish this week. And it wasn't a new start Monday, it was just a total random one. Oh, Suzanne, did you find a link? Oh, I see Suzanne saying how to knit the Edelweiss. Good. There. Oh, Jocelyn saying she needs to cast on the Joe slipper socks. Yeah, we'll have to compare them when you get yours done. So my third finish for this week is a cowl. And this is exactly what the colors you voted for is going to be another one of these. So let me see. There we go. So there is the cowl. Some ribbing on the bottom, ribbing top, and just a fun flower pattern. I'll show you the inside. So I'll show you both sides of this because I made a mistake, which ended up being a very good, there we go. So that's the inside. That's what it looks like to start with. And then I did some duplicate stitching. So then I went back and just duplicate stitched the center of all the flowers. So that's right, Sally. Yes. Oh, yes, I did show this. When did I show this? Was this Friday? It was Friday night, because Friday night was when I realized that I had made the mistake. Yeah, so let me flip around to the side, the back side that I have not fixed yet. Yes, that's right, the Pac-Mans. You're right. So when I held this up, was that Friday night? Must have been Friday night. Yes, it was Friday night. I had worked Friday afternoon just typing up the pattern, and I really, when I took my rough notes and typed out the chart, I missed one little square of this flower chart. And when I knit this, I didn't realize it. I was knitting, and it wasn't until I got a couple of rows up and then I stopped, and, and I held it out and I actually looked at it and I'm like, wait a second. There, my flower is missing a stitch. And so everybody said, yeah, it looked like Pac-Man, or it looked like a fish, and thought, it does almost look like an eye. And you wondered, like, this would be a great way how new stitch patterns evolve, right? Is by accidentally adding or forgetting a stitch, and then it takes on a different appearance. So anyways, I'm going to leave this like this because this is a class sample. And I thought, you know what? That really actually worked out well, because part of the class is talking about 2 reasons why you would want to learn how to do duplicate stitch. One is to fix a mistake. The other is to embellish. So look at that. I guess subconsciously I knew I needed to have a mistake. So there is a mistake. So anyway, this is a really fun knit. I knit this in a day. It took me all day. I started it in the morning, knit all afternoon, and then knit a couple hours at night and got it all done. So this is more of the impeccable. And can I remember the names? I'm going to say this is something like, not navy, star something. Do I have it up here? This is it. Sapphire. Okay, it started with an S. So sapphire. So yeah, it has, it's come compare it to the navy. Just a little, yeah, look at that. There, you can really see the difference. More almost like a royal blue. So I used the sapphire, and I think this is coral. Yep, coral. Guessing this must be the other one. Sea grass, I think. Sea green. Okay, I'm close. So those were the 3 colors that I picked. And there again, I wanted something that was just a little out of my comfort zone, right? Because normally you would not see me using those 2 together. Coral, yes, was something. More like, you know, those ones, yes. Those, not so much. But I really liked it together. And I liked it. I really like it. I really like the color combo. So I'm just trying to be more creative here. I seem to get kind of stuck in a rut. You know how people always generally keep going back to the same colors, right? I always like it when we have in-person knit nights and you sit back and you look at people knitting, and you can almost bet money that a lot of people will be the top that they're wearing, the yarn that they're knitting, and probably their knitting bag are all the same color, right? Because we just do that. We just go to we gravitate to what we like. So I'm just trying to step out of that a little bit and try something different. So that was my start and my finish, and I really, really like it. So that is what this is going to be again. I'm going to knit up another one of these in a larger size. I'm going to make, this is the smaller size. I'm going to make it a little wider, add at least 1 more motif on here. So it is not, this is just a really nice tight fitting, like walking the dog kind of cowl, right? When you want something more for warmth, this one I'm going to make a little bit wider for just size options. And that is almost all my knitting. I did not do very much sock knitting at all this week. Sock madness. My plaid socks, I did not do 1 more stitch on them from last week. I'm still sitting with this much done, ready to start the pocket, and I just ran out of time. I did start, I didn't bring it up here to show you. I did start the cuff on my indigo yarn, some yarn that I dyed with indigo, and I did the cuff, and I'm starting the Rambling Friends sock. That's one of my designs for the Fiber Friends sock challenge month for April. And I've got 2 inches of the cuff done, and I'm just ready to start doing the fun pattern. It is fun, I have to say. I do like, I think I did well on that pattern. So I'm excited to knit it again. Oh, Amber, you said you missed the imperfect flowers. Well, they're still on 1/2. Oh, what color will the background be? So on this one, Sally, I'm gonna go dark again. So I'm gonna do this one, and then we'll do the flowers in the citron and flowers in the hot pink. I will probably have enough yarn that I could mix and match. I am so excited about knitting this cowl in colorways, just mixing and matching things and just coming up with bright and colorful and fun things, just like a field of wildflowers, right? That's what I envision this cowl looking like. All the color options possible. So my Rambling Friend sock with my hand-dyed yarn is started, and most certainly can double. I see somebody ask about double dipping, Melanie. Oh, most certainly you can. Yes. Yep, you can put, knit something, enter it in Northern Knits. They're knit along. What is this? The crochet along? Sure. And yep, put it in the Fiber Friends, absolutely. But I did work a few more rows on the I Got Wise sock. So this was the bonus sock pattern after round 1 of Sock Madness. And I just started the pattern. Don't even know if I can even, I gotta see if I can find it. So it's illusion knitting. So you can see ridges, the white ridges. There's a knit round and a purl round in there. And got all my ends tangled up here. So I just finished the 5th row of the chart. And there we go. If we can see, look right there. Just the very beginning of the pattern, right where the most of the row is purled, and then there's 2 knit stitches. That's the excitement so far. So can't start to see the illusion pattern yet, but hopefully next week there'll be something exciting to show you. But this is on the needles. I think I told you that I had pulled this out because it was too big. There's, yeah, more than my 68 stitches. I either usually do 64 or 68 stitch sock. This is more than that. And with my regular size needles, it was just too big. So I went down to a 2 millimeter. I never use a 2 millimeter, you guys. I just have it. It's like a mental block for me, right? Anything under 2.25, like 2.25 is, I have no problem with that, but 2 just seems so, but actually it's fine. I can't really even tell any difference from a 2 to 2.25, but I don't know if I would go anything below 2. I guess 2 is kind of my cutoff. I did see somebody knitting something on Instagram with a 1.5 millimeter, and I was like, oh, that is so tiny. So anyways, I am off to a good start. The Sock Madness patterns, I will go on a little bit of a tangent here about Sock Madness. You know, one of the things that makes it so exciting is just how all the patterns are written, because every designer writes their charts a little differently. And this one here, I actually had to sit and read the notes through twice to get the gist of what they were saying, what the end stitches, the end column on the chart, this was at the beginning, this is at the end, and they had a number like an X and a Y or something, and then they told you that the X meant you had to do this so many times, and the Y at the end you had to do that so many times. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that was just an interesting way of just saying, yeah, how you knit the rest of the sock once the pattern part is done. And I thought, okay, I've never seen that charted out like that. So it's really interesting just to get different ideas and see how everybody does something different. So much fun. Now, I did not have a chance to go in and look at Sock Madness, but I am guessing that round 2 has finished, like last night or this morning. There was 32 spots left, and like in all of the teams. So I think there's 26 teams A to Z. And I think maybe Friday there was still 32 spots. Most of the teams had already filled, and but there was a few spots on just a handful of teams left. And then I checked again Saturday night maybe, and there was, oh, I forget what the number was, maybe 8 spots left. Like they filled up really quick over the weekend. Oh, let's see, what does this? Melanie said the X and the Y happens more in, oh, is it more in vintage patterns? Okay. Oh, I have okay, I don't know how long you guys want me to talk for. I have a vintage pattern story too. Maybe I'll save that one for next week. So, yeah, so I did have time to look. And not that I was worried. I mean, I knew my pocket socks I was not going to get finished for this round just because I had so many other things on the go. I wanted to get this cowl pattern written up. And I have a secret knitting project that I can't tell you about anything. I can't tell you about the yarn, the pattern, the style, the anything until a little while from now. It, yeah, I can't, that's all I can tell you is it's secret. So I was working on that over the weekend, and that's where, okay, I guess I will just tell you. The vintage pattern came in. I was looking for a stitch pattern for this project. I was looking through an old needlecraft magazine, and it was from 1919, I think is the one that I had. And I was looking through there, and I came across a doily pattern. The doily, the center part of it was just cloth, and then it was embroidered, but it had a beautiful knit lace border around it. I know, me and secrets. This one, yeah, I can't say a word about this. I know lots of times I can never, I know, I'm very good at keeping secret. If it is a true secret, you could tell me, and I will never, ever say any boo about it. But if it's like, oh, I bought yarn, it's like, yeah, I can't keep that secret. My whole life is like an open book, right? I just tell everybody anything, right? Everything and anything, right? You want to know anything? I just can't keep that stuff. But this is a secret, and I cannot say anything about it. But I was looking for this pattern, so I came across this vintage pattern, and it was this beautiful lace pattern. I thought, oh my gosh, this may be exactly what I am looking for. So read through the article, and oh my goodness, the lettering is minuscule in these books. I'm thinking, everybody, I don't know, the women back in the 1919 either had really good eyesight. I don't know. I'm thinking I had to strain my eyes to read this tiny printing, and reading through the article, and they were talking about this doily had been a wedding gift, and this woman had did the embroidery, had done the knitting, and had gifted it to her granddaughter as a wedding gift. And the woman writing the article, just the terms and the words that they used, right? She said that this was the most exclaimed about gift of the wedding. And the grandmother's precision in knitting, and her childhood skills with her embroidery and her knitting, and that this was just the most talked about gift of the wedding. And the woman who had knitted, and this author permission to share the pattern with us. So I was so excited. So she had wrote out the pattern, and so I set to writing it out. And because if you guys have looked at too many vintage patterns, sometimes it's a little confusing because they don't use the same terminology. The only two words that were different than what we would use was over and narrow, and assumed, okay, it's lace, over's got to be a yarn over, narrow, I assumed was a knit two together. So that's what I went with. Wrote it all out, line by line by line by line, wrote it all out. I started knitting it. I was so excited. I just immediate start. I started knitting it. I cast on, started knitting it, and I did one repeat. And I did it in some worsted weight. They were knitting it out of a 50 cotton, thread, thin, teeny tiny, right? And so mine came out, was nice and big, and I'm looking at the light, and I'm thinking, I'm looking at mine and looking at the picture, and I'm like, I'm thinking, okay. Well, I couldn't quite figure where the pattern was in the picture in my knitting sample. And I'm trying to look at it this way and this way. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm sure they want it knit this way. And well, maybe it's this way. And anyways, I kept looking, and I thought, okay, maybe I just need to repeat it again, right? Because sometimes you don't get to really see the full pattern until you get a little bit more knit. So I repeated the 12 row repeat again. And as I'm knitting the second set of 12 rows, I'm starting to think, well, I'm thinking, okay, well, I totally am no good at this. I mean, obviously I can't. I must have misread something, or I must have maybe narrows not knit two together. You know, I was like totally second guessing everything that I had figured out. And then I got the second set of 12 rows done, and I held it up and I looked at it, and then all of a sudden a light bulb goes off, and all I can figure out is the pattern that they included in the article is not the lace pattern that goes with the pretty picture, because my lace pattern was gorgeous, and it obviously, and I had wrote it out correctly because I triple checked everything from what I had hand wrote with what was written, and my stitch count added up, you know, so I thought, okay, there's no way I could have transcribed it. And I looked at it, and I had a perfect, beautiful lace pattern. I had a pointy scalloped edge on one side, had a round circular lacy circle, I had a garter zigzag, and then I had what looked like a leaf pattern over here. None of that was in the picture in the magazine. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. This one here I thought, looking at the picture, I had found the cutest. They were two circle motifs. There was no leaves in it at all. And I was like, darn. I'm like, okay, well, so much for that. So then I was kind of back to the drawing board, because I thought, yeah, none of what I had actually transcribed from that pattern was really what I wanted for this project. So that was that. But I did have fun doing it. And I think I did a very good job at, you know, deciphering what the terminology was back then. And but it didn't turn out to be what I wanted. And it's like this. Oh, and to top off, that ended up there was 2 books put inside this plastic sleeve. So the one that I was actually working from ended up being from 1915, September of 1915. And I thought, well, there's not really any way of going back and figuring out what this was. And I thought, there's no way I could figure it out from just looking at the picture, I don't think. So that was that. It was a good try. I did actually Google her, though. The woman who wrote this, I did Google her, and her name did come up. And somebody else had done what I had done with some of her patterns, tatting, and she had a ton of crochet. Crochet patterns obviously were way more popular back in the early 1919, 1915, 1920s. Looking through this magazine, there was easily 4 to 5 patterns crochet to one knitting, which I found really interesting. That crochet seemed to be much more popular. I mean, a lot of crochet doilies, embroidered tablecloths, that kind of thing. But anyways, it was, oh, Melanie, oh, Roxanne Richards, yes, I like watching her videos. About the X and the Y. Okay. Interesting. So, yeah, I'll have to go back and check. Yeah, because I like listening. I was listening to some of her videos on the weekend, but not, yeah, didn't come across that one. So, yeah, so that was my fun with that. Anyways, it was a good Saturday night fun, you know, deciphering this pattern. Felt like a detective, you know, transported back to 1915. And I really thought, oh, shoot. Okay, I've got more stuff. Okay, I've got more stuff to show you next week, because I didn't bring it all up here. Maybe I'll show you some of the needlecraft books that I picked up. I'll do that next week. There was, okay, totally lost what I was going to say. Let me backtrack here for a second. Oh, yes, I know what I was going to say. My Saturday night of fun was like really thinking about, you know, who this grandmother was in 1915. So this is probably a pattern that she had knit, you know, from like the 1800s, and just trying to think about the knitters that came before us, right? And who they were knitting for and what they were knitting. It's just, I know the history part of it really fascinates me, and who the granddaughter was, and yeah, just what their life would have been. And it was, I don't know, it was my Saturday night fun. I had fun. It was, even though it didn't end up being what I wanted, I still had a lot of fun doing it. Yes, exactly. The war and the depression was going on. Yes. And in some of the books, because I bought 4 of them, yeah, and some of them are there was ads in them. The one, I think it was just one, really was talking about the war. It was American. It was American magazine, and yeah, there was, I know, very different. And the ads, right? Like some of the ads for old cook stoves, and the record players, like oh, you guys, what's the word before like a stereo or record player, like a gramophone is like, seeing these ads and that they are the most current and modern, right? And now looking at them, and they are so vintage for us looking at them, right? It's yeah, gramophone. Amber's got it. Yeah, just very interesting. I love reading the ads too about yes, about women. And it's very interesting. There was some articles in there about women talking about, could they make money from their handcrafted items. And and one of the answers was basically no. Even back in the 1920s, women were still trying to figure out, you know, um, could they make money, you know, with the high cost of ready-made garments were now becoming all the rage. And one woman wrote kind of like Dear Editor kind of thing, right? And saying how ready-made items, you know, were not the same quality, and how mother and her daughters could make handmade items at the fraction of the cost, and more creative and better quality garments that would last. And thought, oh, it was like really, it felt like they were just on that tipping point, right, where ready-made garments were becoming a thing, and the handmade was just starting to go out of fashion, right? And how people were, you know, some people would be jumping on the fence with the handmade or the ready-made, and people were probably hesitant to give it up, right? That change was coming, you know. Very, very, very interesting. So that was my Saturday night. Fun stuff. But yes, that's right, Millen. You were close. Right. Gramophone, yeah. But yes, right. I know. Anyways, so that was my fun. But now this week I want to get back to sock knitting. So somewhere I got totally sidetracked from sock madness. But anyway, that's what I was doing on the weekend, and so there was no sock madness knitting. But I knew I wasn't going to get plaid socks done, and maybe that was part of it, because I knew I wasn't going to get it done. I didn't sit and do a big push. Like, I sat and I knit that cowl all day to get it done. But socks, I will seize, because I still think I will get the next pattern when round 3 comes out. I think I will get that pattern at the same time, even though I didn't finish the plaid socks. I guess I will find out. I think I do. If I don't, I don't. And I will get it in June. But if I do get the round 3 sock, I would like to cast it on. And I know that gives us back to the same dilemma, right? Should I finish my plaid socks? I know probably I should, right? And then I've got my Illusion bonus socks. I know. but I really want to cast on. So if I get the pattern for Sock Madness, I think I will cast on just because it's fun. And I kind of miss this week not being caught up in all the Sock Madness fun. And it's going to be kind of sad when the whole thing is over for the year. I'm already looking forward to next March when it will come out again and the fun will start again. Susanna says that's the hard truth about earning money with knitting. Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter what era you're from. It's still kind of the same gist, right? That it's probably hard. There was another article about a group of women who were trying to do that. They were trying to do their village, trying to do a community enterprise. Like they were trying to, this one woman who spearheaded it said she went around, you know, to women in the community, asking for their talents, you know, whether it was knitting, crochet, tatting, and they were trying to, what was it? They were trying to find out what women who, what pretty items would appeal to women, like embroidered tablecloths and napkins and handkerchiefs, and somehow they said about women who basically had more money than skill. Something about it would appeal to their purse, and women who didn't have the skill and but had the money that would pay for it. And trying to figure out if they could somehow start up something. So I think this letter to the Needlecraft magazine was maybe to just to get more women to knit, and then they would sell things. I don't know. It's interesting, right? How things change but still stay the same, right? Finish my pocket socks. I know that's what I should do, but I just want to cast on. But I should. I maybe will. But I want to do the pod socks because they are so pretty. Sally says, "Oh, make them to fit you." Yes, I will. These ones I can do that for sure. Oh, Susanna says there's a podcast by Nimble Needles about earning money from knitting. Okay. See, I know it's something as the years go by, we're still talking about that, aren't we? About how to price your work. I mean, you definitely don't want to underprice it. And one of the things that kind of, I don't know what the word is. I think we undervalue our knitting. You know, when you look at the price of what a handmade quilt costs versus what we sell a knitted Afghan for. You know, one's like $500 and one is $20. I think there needs to be, I don't know, a little more consistency there. Oh, Nikki says, oh, you have sold items. Nikki sold items before, but the person's got to be willing to pay what it's worth. Exactly. So if that person will pay what it's worth, then yes. Exactly. And that's the thing, but I think that's the thing, right? Is like the difference between knitting and quilting is that we have almost set ourselves up to train the public to think of hand knits as cheap, right? You think of a church bazaar where you can go and buy something for $2 or $5. Whereas quilting seems to have more of a prestige around it where people will pay that, right? So let's see. Maybe we've opened up a whole other can of worms here with this, right? Jocelyn says many won't pay what it's worth. They will pay for cheap labor done overseas instead of a living wage. That is true too, right? And I think now, right, people will just buy, you know, when you can, I think that's two groups of people, right? Like sometimes people, you've got the people who go to Walmart and buy a $5 whatever's on the rack, right? And then other people who maybe have a little bit more money to spend and recognize that something's hand knit, handmade, quality, materials, there will be some people that will pay that. I think it's just finding those people. Okay, Nikki says it was a pair of mittens for $80. And and if you go into some place, like if you go into Roots or the Gap or like some of these high-end clothing stores, I mean, that's what they're going to sell a hat for or mittens for is $80, $100, right? And people will pay it. I think it's just finding that market. Oh, Susanna, do tax returns? Can you read my mind? I haven't started my taxes yet. I know. Do taxes, knit socks. Yeah, I know. One you should do, and one is what the other one is probably what I would do, right? Nikki, even that really was not paying you anything for your time, but still more than what most will pay. Exactly. Yeah, I know, because most people wouldn't pay $80, right? Because they're looking for something. But yeah, that's something we'll just have to educate people about, I think, right? About the materials, good quality materials, the amount of time it takes. Oh, Amber, you did a craft show years ago. And you made hats with acrylic yarn and scarves plus a few other things. And you kept the prices lower. And I think that's exactly it, right? Where you're going to sell, like a craft sale, a church bazaar, that people are going there and they're looking for things cheap, right? That's where they want something for $5. They want a pair of mitts for $2 or $5 or, whereas if you go to something more like an artisan market or a specialty store, that's where you can probably get like your $80 for a pair of mitts. I think it's all that marketing stuff, right? Anyways, we covered a lot of topics tonight, didn't we? Are we? Oh my gosh, we're over our hour mark. Okay, so quick, guys, let's take like 5 minutes. What are you guys working on? I'm not sure. I know I always miss the first few comments when I start the hour off and you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. So what are you guys working on this week? I'm really going to focus on socks. I should work on my plaid socks. Because I do really want to start. I don't know, I want to do it all. That's my problem, you guys. Oh, Melanie's doing socks. Good, because, Amber's doing Anthony socks. That's right, because it is kind of sock month, because I think a lot of you guys follow the Fiber Friends as well. And the Fiber Friends podcast, April's challenge is socks. So, Sock Madness, Fiber Friends, like it is kind of a sock. April is just sock month, which is super fun. Susie's doing socks. I know I've got so many socks on the nails, but I'm loving socks. I have not lost my sock knitting mojo. I've really, truly missed knitting socks. I was working on this a little bit last night, getting these ridges put in here, and I was like, it felt like coming home, right? I was really excited to be able to sit down and work on the socks. And I was like, I should make sure that doesn't happen again. I need to keep working on some socks. I saw Emma pop in here. Oh, a shawl. Oh, with a mystery mini set. Well, that sounds exciting. That's right. I know last year we got to this point, right? Last year was my March socks and I used that pink yarn and that was it. I didn't knit socks again until like Christmas? Something like that. I know it was. There's something to be said about that, right? If you're not loving the yarn, the pattern, you just set it aside and you just find something else to cast on, right? Let's see here. Oh, hi, Sam. Oh, Sam, you're working on... Oh, Sam's working on a poem for my birthday. Well, Sam, that's wonderful. That is so nice of you. Susanna, you're doing another cowl with a provisional cast on. Oh, to do a picot edging. Oh, that'll be really pretty. Yeah, Sam. So, Sam, are you going to like type out, are you going to share the whole pattern or the whole poem with everybody? That would be really fun. Well, guys, okay. So, thank you all so much for voting for this fun yarn. Okay, I truly meant to cast on this tonight while we were talking. And then I totally forgot because I really okay, next week. There's always next week. I really wanted to actually start doing my cast-ons live with you guys. What I'm going to do is, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get a whole bunch of yarn here. I did not find that one strand that I was looking for. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to do the old Norwegian cast on, I think is what, or the twisted German long tail. I think they're both the same thing. That's what I'm going to do for this. That's even why I brought the needles up here. So I'm going to cast on with a 4.5 millimeter. And I know a lot of yarn, I know it could have been worse. Could have been worse. Because there is a lot of yardage in these balls. So these, so it's a 4.5 ounce ball, 127.5 grams. So there's, it's a good size. I think that's right. No, it's not. Yes, it is. I'm looking in two different spots. Yes, 4.5 ounce, 260 meters, 285 yards, 127.5 grams. So they are nice size balls. Anyways, yeah, so I had planned to actually cast on while we were chatting, but yeah, like I said, there's always next week. I'll try to start casting on with all of you, but I'm going to go downstairs and cast on right now. Put something on Netflix. I think it's going to be Bridgerton. I have not watched that yet. I've been waiting, and I think now I feel like I've waited long enough, and now I just need to watch it. So, oh, Sam, I know Sam has been having some trouble. I know. So, Sam, I hope you're feeling a little bit better than you were last week. But, yeah, it sounds like you're still sore. That's too bad. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Oh, Bernadette is doing the Silver Leaf Shawl and Wild Poppy Pullover. I like both those names. Nice. Lynn's doing socks. Exciting. Socks and sweaters. All right. Oh, Lynn's doing what's that, a boho shell? That would be fun. Oh, Lynn, you're doing the Douglas Cardi. Nice. All right. Well, you guys, it sounds like everybody has got good projects on the needles, and you're going to have a great knitting week as well. So let's catch up again next Monday. I don't know, hopefully have another cowl, maybe two. I have two. Any chance I could get two done? Maybe. And, oh, my center point cast. Oh, yes. I didn't even talk about that. No, I got started with the gauge. That's a whole other story that I'm not going to start tonight. That'll be the center point cardigan, or center point popover was last week's new start. We will chat about that next week. Because, like with most of my projects, there's always a story attached to them. So we will chat about that next week. So, guys, thanks so much for voting. Thanks for visiting with me tonight. Have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great knitting week, and I will chat to you again next Monday. Happy knitting, everyone.